Right now on ABC 10 News at 4 o'clock, no charges for the officer who shot and killed an Ocean Beach woman during the January insurrection at the Capitol. We look into the investigation. Plus, the president formally announces a plan to end America's longest war when troops will begin leaving Afghanistan. And positively, San Diego One conversation leads to a community of support for a man who fell on hard times.
ABC 10 News at 4 starts now.
In less than 24 hours, hundreds of thousands of additional San Diegans will be eligible to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kimberly Hunt. It's the same week the country put a hold on using the Johnson & Johnson version of the shot. Our ABC 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo is joining us with why the county says it's ready for the increase in eligibility. Laura?
Kimberly, even with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine pause, county officials say that there were no canceled appointments at any of the county sites and that those people that had appointments for the J&J vaccine instead got the Pfizer or the Moderna. Now, as you mentioned, starting tomorrow, anyone over the age of 16 is eligible for a COVID-19 vaccine if they want one. Supervisor Nathan Fletcher says the county is still waiting on more vaccine supply, but explained the Johnson & Johnson pause will have a minimal effect on the county's progress. The county is holding on to 11,000 J&J vaccines while the CDC and FDA review the rare blood clotting side effects found in 6 women who got the vaccine. Now, officials want people to have patience as they start looking for appointments ahead of tomorrow, explaining that with more people eligible, there will be more competition to schedule appointments.
There will be the normal frustration that we've been through multiple times about challenges in getting appointments. And we just ask everyone continue to be patient. We've been through this multiple times.
Now, county officials say that the system for anyone wanting to make an appointment that will become eligible tomorrow is already open, and you can go ahead and make an appointment if there are appointments available. But again, Kimberly, as we've seen, when more people are eligible, there is always a challenge in finding those appointments in the beginning. Reporting live, Laura Acevedo, ABC 10 News.
Thank you, Laura. Earlier today, the CDC ended an emergency meeting on the Johnson & Johnson vaccine without voting on new recommendations for the vaccine. Yesterday, the CDC and FDA recommended a pause on the vaccine over concerns of rare blood clots. The CDC's advisory committee, which includes 2 local doctors, heard details about 6 women who developed blood clots within 2 weeks of getting the shot. 1 woman died. The committee says it needs more information before making a recommendation. Governor Gavin Newsom says he expects California students to be back in class for the start of the next school year.
So we talk about social emotional learning. That's foundational, and that's a principle in terms of our efforts to get our kids back into in-person instruction. There's simply no substitute for that enrichment that comes from being in school, being with trusted friends as well as extraordinary leaders.
Newsom did not go so far as to say that he would mandate all schools reopen. He said there could be extreme exceptions that would have to be accommodated.
Some good news regarding one of the 2 vaccines currently in use in the U.S. Moderna has new longer-range data showing its vaccine is 90% effective protecting people from getting COVID and 95% effective in preventing severe disease for up to 6 months. That's after both doses. Moderna has also enrolled enough young people to test its vaccine on adolescents. The company is expected to apply for full use approval among adults soon. Meanwhile, it's likely the protection of the Moderna and Pfizer COVID vaccines will last even longer. The head of an FDA research department said the technology used to create the 2 vaccines likely provides protection for a minimum of 9 months. Researchers will be watching older people vaccinated to see if immunity fades. Now, the duration of protection will help determine if booster or annual shots may be needed, like with a flu shot.
The officer who shot and killed San Diegan Ashley Babbitt during the Capitol riot in January will not face any charges. ABC 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala looks into the investigation by the Department of Justice that is now officially closed.
The investigation into the death of Ocean Beach woman Ashley Babbitt has come to an end. Babbitt was an Air Force veteran who was shot and killed during the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. Wednesday, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia and the Civil Rights Division of the U.S. Department of Justice announced there will be no criminal charges against the U.S. Capitol police officer who fatally shot Babbitt. Multiple agencies reviewed video evidence, physical evidence, statements by officers and witnesses, as well as the autopsy results. The investigation revealed that Babbitt joined a crowd of people on Capitol grounds to protest the results of the 2020 presidential election. The Department of Justice says the investigation further determined that Ms. Babbitt was among a mob of people that entered the Capitol building and gained access to a hallway outside Speaker's lobby, which leads to the chamber of the U.S. House of Representatives. Once the crowd started to break through the glass in the doors, they say Ms. Babbitt attempted to climb through one of the doors where glass was broken out. An officer inside the Speaker's lobby fired one round from his service pistol, striking Ms. Babbitt in the left shoulder. Babbitt was transported to a hospital where she died of her injuries. Based on the investigation, officials say there wasn't enough evidence to support a criminal prosecution. Friend of Babbitt, Charles Breckenridge, who served with her in the Air Force, told ABC News back in January that he was shocked watching the events unfold, but wanted people to remember Babbitt as he knew her.
Even if you consider it a mob, like mob mentality is a thing. No matter how good of a person you are, you can get hung up in it. So it's like, I just want people to know she was a cool person and she was a really nice person and she deserved better than that.
Mimi Alcala, ABC 10 News.
After the shooting, the Capitol police officer was placed on administrative leave and police powers were suspended pending the outcome of that investigation. And now to the latest on the California college student who disappeared in 1996. Today, the San Luis Obispo County District Attorney said Kristin Smart was killed during an attempted rape. The DA also said there is evidence that there may be additional victims. Yesterday, Paul Flores and his father, Ruben, were arrested. Paul is charged with first-degree murder during the commission of an attempted rape, and Ruben is charged with accessory after the fact in connection with helping to hide her body. Smart's remains have not yet been found. Both men will be arraigned tomorrow. In one of the first major foreign policy decisions of his administration, today President Joe Biden formally announced his plans to end the U.S. military presence in Afghanistan. The withdrawal is set to take place by a key anniversary later this year. Karen Kafa reports from Washington.
President Joe Biden paying respects at Arlington National Cemetery's Section 60 after a major announcement about the U.S. military presence in Afghanistan.
It's time to end the forever war.
Biden announced the U.S. troop withdrawal from Afghanistan will be completed by September 11th, the 20th anniversary of the 2001 terror attacks.
We cannot continue the cycle of extending or expanding our military presence in Afghanistan, hoping to create ideal conditions for the withdrawal and expecting a different result.
Some lawmakers applauding a defined date and plan to end America's longest war.
The president doesn't want endless wars. I don't want endless wars, and neither do the American people.
Others warning of destabilization.
Our president should remember what happened when the Obama administration let political considerations rush a retreat from Iraq. Total chaos.
Biden's plan begins the final withdrawal on May 1st, in keeping with a U.S. exit deadline negotiated by the Trump administration with the Taliban last year. He made it clear there will be no extension beyond September.
We'll reorganize our counterterrorism capabilities and the substantial assets in the region to prevent reemergence of terrorists with a threat to our homeland.
Afghan President Ashraf Ghani said he spoke with Biden and respects the U.S. decision. The U.S. will continue diplomatic and humanitarian efforts in Afghanistan. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
The USS Bonham has officially been decommissioned. Almost a year ago, a fire destroyed much of the ship and sent smoke over the skies of San Diego for days. More than 60 personnel, including sailors and civilians, were treated for injuries such as heat exhaustion and smoke inhalation. Multiple sources with close ties to NCIS told us the fire was being investigated as arson and a suspect was a Navy sailor. But the Navy has only confirmed the cause of the fire is still under investigation. There was a small ceremony at Naval Base San Diego before being towed to a scrapyard. The former Minnesota police officer accused of shooting a black motorist is now charged with second-degree manslaughter. This comes a day after Kim Potter resigned from the Brooklyn Center Police Department. She fatally shot 20-year-old Dante Wright during a traffic stop. The shooting on Sunday sparked days of protests and unrest. The police chief and city manager also resigned. The former police chief said that Potter intended to use her taser, but fired her handgun instead.